Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap video. So I'm sorry for the different octave in my voice, I'm pretty sick. Actually, I probably shouldn't be making this video, but I love brewing around these decks and these locations, and I wanted to get this out for you guys because it is like clockwork that it comes out every single week. So today we have the featured location, Rickety Bridge. And in the Rickety Bridge, after each turn, if there is more than one card here, destroy them. And so this is going to create a lot of really cool techs. A lot of really cool decks are going to do really well today. And so today we're going to be covering my top decks and techs to try out while this location is featured. Starting off with our techs, we have Colossus. Colossus is a 2/3 that has the ongoing ability, can't be destroyed, moved, or have its power reduced. So as long as this does not get Enchantressed, you are going to be able to have this safely there if the opponent plays anything into that location. Then after that turn, it will get destroyed, and you'll be able to keep your Colossus in that location, and it'll be a really cool interaction today. And then we have Armor. If you want to kind of circumvent this location, you can always run an Armor. You can drop Armor into the location, and then your cards are safe. Or are they? So that brings us to our next tech card, Enchantress. Enchantress, on reveal, she's going to remove the ongoing abilities. So if the opponent stacks heavily into their armored lane, you can always use an Enchantress, take away that lane protection, and then all of a sudden that entire lane is going to die. This works with Colossus as well, and so I think we're going to see a lot more Enchantress today, and it's something that I'm going to be trying out. If people are trying to protect that lane, then I think we're going to have a lot of value from our Enchantress plays. We have the Dr. Octopus himself, Doc Ock. He's going to pull all of the opponent's cards. As long as they don't have something that locks that in, like a Professor X or an Armor, then all of those cards are going to get destroyed, and you're going to drain them of 4 resources while you only drain yourself of 1. And so you get a lot of upside out of the transaction compared to what they do. And so I think this is going to be a rather inconsistent one, but it is going to be one that is incredibly fun to see and pull off. And then with any location that naturally destroys cards, we have Null. Null is going to get value every single turn, especially if you're running the Doc Ock in unison with the Null. You're going to be able to pull their resources, drain them of those resources. Then you'll be able to drop your Null for a massive power, at least at minimum 10 because of your Doc Ock, and then whatever else got destroyed from them as well. And then we have Claw. Claw is going to be able to push a little bit of extra power into that location where it's typically very hard to get cards into. And so as long as the location is not the far left, you'll be able to drop your Claw and just get 6 power into that lane where the opponent is going to have to struggle to be able to find and get anything in that lane. And then we have Little Claw. We have Mr. Fantastic. He's going to push 2 power to the left and the right or the adjacent lanes. And so if you place this in middle and the featured location, the Rickety Bridge, turns up, you're going to be able to get a little bit of extra power to that location and sneak some value where your opponent is going to struggle. And then the last one that I have is Electro. Electro is going to have the on reveal of +1 max energy, and if you play this in Rickety Bridge, it is very likely that throughout the game, you can have your opponent destroy this. And so for Electro, the same with Null, any location that naturally destroys cards is going to be your friend, and so this one is going to be no different. I think Electro will be pretty good today. And so starting off with Old Reliable, this deck uses 4 of the cards that are recommended techs for today in the Mr. Fantastic, the Colossus, the Professor X, and the Claw. And it's generally a pretty good cohesive deck in and of itself, so even if you don't get that location, you're still going to be able to find yourself to win a lot of those games. Alright, and so next up we have a control style deck, a deck where we're wanting to push value into the original 2 lanes, and then as the game progresses, we might drop our Doc Ock into the Rickety Bridge. We might be able to get a read with Daredevil and get a free Professor X lockdown. Nightcrawler is going to be able to help us pull more power over into that location so that we can have 5 power versus the 3. We have the Enchantress tech to take out any kind of armor lanes. We have the Arrow and Leader to misdirect your opponent's plays and just generally frustrate them. So I think this one should be pretty decent today, but I do think some of the options might be a little bit better. So Spectrum Destroyer I think is going to be the most consistent one, but that doesn't have highs and lows. And then next up we have Dino Value. Dino Value is a list that I featured recently, and it operates with a couple of rules. If you get your Zabu, then you can flood a lot of the 4-cost cards onto the board. You want value and you want to gain tempo throughout the early game into a late game either counter or big Devil Dino to finish off the game. And so with this list, we're going to be able to Enchantress twice, Shang-Chi twice. We're going to be able to use our White Queen, our Crossbones, and just get value onto the board relatively quick. And it's all going to be outside of Shang-Chi range, so we don't have to worry about it getting destroyed and swinging the tempo in their favor. Now, there could be a Null deck in there, there could be a few other options. I wanted to make these builds as accessible as possible. So if you have Null, if you have Galactus, you might try some of the tech cards, just ramp into a Doc Ock, into a Galactus or Null, and you should have no problem winning today. But those are my top decks and techs to try out while this location is featured. Let me know what you're running in the comments down below, and if any of these work for you, or even if they don't. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.